This episode of Marijuana Today is brought to you by our friends over at the Atlas Plant Trainer, the new modular plant support system that will allow you to maximize your legal cannabis cultivation yields by opening up all parts of your plants to the light. And because you can assemble the Atlas Plant Trainer in whatever configuration you need, it's a great solution whether you're growing a couple plants in your closet or filling out a large warehouse space. You can learn more about the Atlas Plant Trainer and get your pre-order in over at growbiggest.com. That's growbiggest.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Thursday, July 13th, 2017, and you're tuned in to episode 287 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day is the breaking news being reported by Alan Brockstein over at New Cannabis Ventures that apparently the great distribution blockage of Nevada is over. Alan is reporting that yesterday, Nevada officials issued a distribution license to Blackbird Logistics, a medical marijuana company that's been in business for the past 2 years. The company is working with an alcohol distributor partner, which is allowing it to get around the restrictions on non-alcohol distributors engaging in marijuana distribution. As regular listeners know, that restriction has put Nevada medical and adult use dispensaries in a bit of a tight spot in terms of restocking, as there's been no approved distributors to reorder from. This story is a late breaking one, with Alan posting it last night, and so far no other outlets picking up on it. We'll report back on any relevant updates. We turn now to Massachusetts, where marijuana activists say they would be just fine with state lawmakers failing to rewrite the adult use marijuana law first passed by voters in the fall. This is another long-running story that regular listeners should be familiar with the latest developments being a logjam in the legislative merging process 6 state lawmakers are undergoing in a bid to craft a piece of compromise law from disparate state House and Senate versions. Early this week, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker said that if a new bill wasn't put forth soon, the state would just go ahead and implement adult use legalization as set forth in November's ballot initiative. Yesterday, activist Jim Borghesani, spokesperson for the effort that put the ballot measure through to success, told reporters, quote, "The way it's looking now, I have no insight into what's going on. My guess is that neither side is budging much, and if nothing happens, the law stays on the books as is. That's fine with us." Unquote. And finally for today, Weedmaps is getting some heat for a series of billboard advertisements the company is running in Massachusetts that are being criticized for being insensitive to the opioid crisis. The ads feature the text, quote, "States that legalize marijuana had 25% fewer opioid-related deaths," unquote, and were placed on more than 80 of Clear Channel billboards across the state, some in towns that were particularly hard struck by the opioid crisis. For their part, Weedmaps say they have no control over the exact placements of their ads. This is a good one to click over for the full read. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, the Atlas Plant Trainer, the new modular plant support system that will allow you to maximize your legal cannabis cultivation yields. I'm friends with Rob and Danielle, the main medical marijuana caregivers behind the Atlas Plant Trainer, and they've told me that they're less than 30 days away from placing their first production order. This has been a real labor of love for Rob and Danielle as they've tested and designed and retested and then redesigned the Atlas Plant Trainer until they were satisfied with how it came together. You can get in on that early magic by opening up growbiggest.com to get your pre-order in. It doesn't cost anything to pre-order, it just guarantees your spot and lets Rob and Danielle know what kind of numbers they'll be dealing with to start. And if you have a store or retail outlet that could benefit from selling the Atlas Plant Trainer, you should also open up growbiggest.com and get in touch about becoming a reseller. Again, just open up growbiggest.com to learn more and see what the Atlas Plant Trainer looks like in action. All right, time for the Blitz. Christopher Ingraham over at the Washington Post has a great takedown of Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who recently made some non-Russian related headlines when he pined for the return of the ineffective DARE program during a speech given to a small handful of DARE adherents still pocketed away somewhere in Texas. Mr. Ingraham focused on one part of the AG's speech that said that the Department of Justice was working hard to drive up the price of illegal drugs while driving down their purity. Christopher then uses data and facts and science and shows that the exact opposite is true. The drug war and the mentality of cracking down has made illegal drugs cheaper and more pure since at least 1981. Click on over to see all the graphy awesomeness yourself. 2 large Oregon marijuana businesses are merging, with Golden Leaf Holdings announcing their acquisition of Chalice Farms for just under $20 million in cash and 83 million shares of stock. Chalice Farms is on a bit of an acquisition run, with recent deals in Nevada having added to their multi-state portfolio. A man accused of vehicular homicide in Montana is seeking to have his case thrown out by questioning the validity of the state's limit on the THC level in a person's blood, which is currently set at 5 nanograms per milliliter. 20-year-old Kent Jensen's lawyer is arguing that the limit was arbitrarily imposed and not an accurate indicator of a person's actual impairment. After a 2016 traffic accident in which motorcyclist Joshua Fry was killed, Jensen's blood was tested and found to have 19 nanograms per milliliter of THC in his blood, which moved prosecutors to seek vehicular manslaughter charges. This is a super complex issue that's going to pop up more and more over time, and one that we really need to make sure that we get right. As the state of Ohio works to roll out their nascent medical marijuana program, the issue of who will test the state's medical cannabis is still up in the air. Under state law, during the first year of the program's operations, marijuana testing labs will be limited to public universities. The only problem with that is that it looks like no public university, as of yet, is willing to risk federal funding to become a test lab. While this is less than ideal, lawmakers aren't too worried about it and say that if no schools step up to become test labs, they still have time to amend the law to open things up to other testing companies. Ontario, Canada's provincial government is asking its citizens to go online and fill out a survey on marijuana for it to use as it figures out how to legalize adult use marijuana. As regular listeners know, the entire nation of Canada is legalizing marijuana with an eye on having an adult use system up and running by next year. Ontario's Attorney General Yasser Naqvi said that the survey results will be taken seriously as he and fellow government officials work out the exact rules and regulations for the industry. Canadian licensed medical marijuana firm Aphria just released their latest quarterly results and are reporting that their sales are up 106% over the previous quarter. This is an especially good one to dive into as there are a lot of performance metrics dropped in their press release. Open up new Cannabis Ventures for all the details. And finally for today, government officials in Humboldt County, California are putting the kibosh on a marijuana farmers market that's sprung up over the past few months. The so-called casual crop exchange drew cultivators from all around the county, but apparently runs afoul of county laws restricting marijuana sales to traditional brick and mortar dispensaries. So sadly, no more farmers markets in Humboldt, at least until the laws changed. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, the Atlas Plant Trainer, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.